Hey guys, Jordan here, and in this video we're going to be comparing the iPhone 13 Pro versus the iPhone 14 Pro for walkthrough video for real estate. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to get started with shooting first with the 14 Pro, and then we're going to shoot a similar video with the 13 Pro, and then we're going to just do a side-by-side comparison to see if you guys can see a difference between the 13 Pro and the 14 Pro. And I'll also give my thoughts at the end of the video whether or not I think it's a valuable upgrade for real estate video. All right, so I'm just gonna start here, obviously using the ultra wide lens. And the 14 Pro has some new features to it. Stabilization, has 4K 60 without high efficiency. We're gonna be shooting the 13 Pro with the high efficiency 4K 60 as well. But I'm just gonna get a handful of shots so that you guys can just get a comparison. So here, I'm just gonna do all right, we'll use the sun. So I'll start here and just get a walk in. Next, we're gonna do a panning shot here. All right, now we're gonna walk from this corner over to the kitchen. Seems really smooth with that stabilization in this camera. Now I'm gonna start here in the kitchen and go all the way upstairs. What I'm seeing right now is some great dynamic range out of the windows and great lighting on the inside. Honestly, I feel like the 14 Pro from a dynamic range standpoint right out of camera looks better than many of my Sony cameras. So I'll do a panning shot. Panning shot master, and I can see myself a little bit. All right, and we'll do the shower as well, because this is more of a low light room, and I'm not gonna be moving. I'm just gonna do a panning shot, just so you don't see my movement in the reflection. We'll do the garage because that is pretty low light and we can get a good idea of how these cameras perform at 4K 60 in a lower light scenario. Obviously, most houses that you shoot for real estate are during the day like this, so this is a great tool to use for those shoots, but we'll see if it holds up at 4K 60 in low light. All right, now I'm just gonna transition back down the stairs here. So I'm kind of panning down. We'll get a shot in this garage facing this way and we'll leave the light off as well, just to kind of get a dark feel and just a sense of how the camera actually looks in a lower light room. And from the looks of it, it looks very good. I'm not seeing too much noise in the footage of the 14 Pro. All right, there's really not a backyard, but I always like to end the videos with the backyard, I guess. Typically it's the front, then the inside, and then the backyard. We'll just do a quick panning shot of the front here because it's kind of the backyard, front yard, which we got a panning shot there, but I just wanted to get another exterior shot where we can kind of look and compare the dynamic range of the sky, the plants, what does it look like in the shadows and the highlights. All right, so that's gonna be it for the 14 Pro. Now we're gonna transition to the 13 Pro and see how it stacks up against what I'm seeing in the 14 Pro. All right, so now we have the 13 Pro. We're gonna be trying to do the similar shots that we got with the 14 Pro so that we can do a good comparison. So I'm gonna start here and just walk in. Actually, I started with a panning shot. All right, let's go video, ultra wide, and just pan. So now I'm gonna walk towards the front. And then I know I got another shot from here walking up to the door. Looks pretty similar. It does seem like the 14 Pro was a little bit smoother on this shot. We got this corner panning shot. So I'm gonna get the same panning shot. So I'm shooting 4K 60 HDR. On this one, it shows high efficiency. And all right, the next shot was walking into the kitchen. All right, so now we're in the kitchen. I'm gonna transition back upstairs like I did with the other one. So let's go. And right here, you can probably get a good comparison of what it looks like on the interior and exterior. Really good dynamic range on this camera as well. I do feel like it does have a little bit more noise in the darker areas of the footage, so just from a hunch for me, it does look like the 14 Pro does perform a little bit better in the darks. All right, so a nice panning shot here. You can see my reflection, but not the end of the world. And then I'll do the panning shot that I got in the shower as well. Yeah, from what I'm seeing, look at the shadow in the shower head. It does look like it's dancing around with this phone, and that was something I didn't really notice in the other footage. All right, so let's go ahead, transition downstairs into the garage. I think that was the last shot that we got. All right, so just panning from left to right. Yeah, I'm looking at this footage and it looks like it's dancing all in the sky here that you guys can probably see on camera. All right, so last but not least, just a little shot just to end the video on an exterior shot. And then look at the sky. Honestly, the exterior shots look very similar. I feel like the 14 Pro definitely performs a little bit better in the low light. I saw a lot of noise, some things going on in the shadows that can make your videos a little bit distracting, but the 14 Pro surprisingly looked very, very smooth. All right, guys, well, that's it for the shooting portion of the iPhone 14 Pro versus the 13 Pro, shooting real estate videos at a property. We're now gonna look at them, jump over to the computer, look at the comparison, and I'm gonna give my thoughts on the quality and if I think that the 14 Pro is a valuable upgrade if you have a 13 Pro for real estate video. All right, so I'm not gonna do a side-by-side because I feel like the editor of the video did a pretty good job where you could get a sense of what the 14 Pro does and also what the 13 Pro can do at 4K 60. When it comes to video with the iPhone 14 Pro, I feel like I could tell a pretty noticeable difference between one camera and the other, or one phone and the other. When it came to photography, it was really hard to see much of a difference at all. But with video, some of the improvements that they added into the 14 Pro did definitely increase the quality of the video that you can get out of it. So if you're gonna be shooting exclusively videos, maybe even high-end videos for your customers, because I think the 14 Pro can perform pretty well as long as it's not super low light. You can get some really great footage. Obviously it's not ideal. Ideal is that you have a professional camera, but man, the quality that you can get out of this thing is quite amazing. And definitely a few things that I noticed. One was the noise level, and that might also have something to do with high efficiency, but it's also a hardware thing, right? The 14 Pro can handle more. It has more processing power and can handle larger files, 4K 60, and or outside of the high efficiency mode. It can actually do ProRes. You know, if you're really trying to get every fine-tuned detail, you know, that might be something you want to consider. So it was the noise level, and it was also walking. The stabilization was very noticeable, even on a gimbal on the 13 Pro. If you look at the shot where of me going up the stairs, you can really see a difference there. But on the 14 Pro is much smoother, and even the walk on the outside as well. Maybe I was walking worse on one than the other, but I felt like I try to keep it pretty consistent. So there's definitely a difference between the phones when it comes to the video product and what you can get for your customers. At the end of the day, is a customer going to notice the differences? Likely not. you know, if you're really into photography and you're looking at the footage and you look at footage all day long, you'll be able to tell a difference. But to your average consumer, they're not going to be able to know too much of a difference between one or the other. And you could probably, you know, get over some of those obstacles like noise with noise reduction and post-processing, as well as feet with or movement with stabilization in your software that you use. So, you know, I would definitely make the upgrade if I was planning to do it for video only. Otherwise, the phones are very similar and there's not too many differences. Anyways, so that's just my opinion. Those are my thoughts on using the 13 and 14 Pro for real estate video. If you got value out of this video, make sure to hit the like button, and we'll see you guys on the next one.